Blacks get on my nerve. They swear they're white.
Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.
Yeah, I love how White Adam is just up on the screen right now, showing himself off in all his rational white glory. I have to say, I appreciate this man. But it's before we get into that, it's the Cultural Dangerous Gentleman. We here, we back. You know, it's love. Everybody's geared up to tell some awesome stories here today. I appreciate you, brothers. How's the week been so far?
Lovely.
Good. Excellent.
Yes, it's the same. And I appreciate you always asking. I just never have anything different. I wish I had interesting shit to tell you. This is literally the most interesting thing I do.
Well, it's all good, man. So I'm gonna let everybody know who White Adam is. I know there was just recently a Black Adam movie with a brown person in it, but this person we call him White Adam, and this right here is one of the most absurd things that I've witnessed in the recent, events. This is absolutely one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. So I don't know what happened before the cameras start rolling. So let me just put that out there. Apparently, White Adam here was sitting at some restaurant with some outdoor seating, and I think some people happened to roll up on him, maybe have gotten too close, and apparently White Adam referred to them as thugs. So let's just check out some of the behavior that these people have on display in this video here.
I didn't drink your drink. Don't call me a thug.
So what you is? Huh? If we thugs, so what you is?
I'm not a thug. I don't go to people's tables and
that's
harass
that's
them.
Not,
Man,
I don't know.
Don't call
bro.
us a thug, bro. Don't call us a thug. I'm not a thug. Don't call me a
I could tell
thug.
you something crazy right now if I wanted to. He just called us because we black.
Okay. So this is already getting pretty crazy.
Subject verb agreement, conjugation. Well, I don't know. I don't remember. It's not is. It's are.
Oh, so we're not even gonna get into the grammar. There's a lot of wild shit said in this video. But son just said I could call you something crazy as fuck right now. Like he's acknowledging that he could say a lot of wild shit to him, but they're gonna show you that White Adam's not allowed to say anything wild back to them. And the other guy said he's only calling us that because we're black. So you could tell they're definitely trying to they're not calming down the situation at all. They're not de-escalating the situation.
Call us because we black. I know.
Don't call us thugs, bro.
So he sits down with his back turned to these guys, and I think most rational human beings at this time would be like, okay, so this conflict is over. Nobody's been touched, nothing has happened, nothing has been lost. This old White Adam just turned around and sat down calmly with his back turned. I mean, this should be over, right? But no, there's more.
Don't call us
The
thugs.
ratio
I
of
don't
black
know.
was
He was
too
homeless
high.
or something.
Oh, yeah, let's get into that. So he said the ratio of black was too high. So if there had been like a one-on-one confrontation, the black guy could have walked off when he sat down. If it's two of them, maybe one could cooler head could get his boy to leave. But because there's three, there's no other choice but to freak. We got to do it. We got to go. We got to go all the way. I have a theory about this, though. So I want to look a little bit closer. Let's watch the rest of this.
Yo, bro, I didn't drink your drink, so don't call me a thug.
Yeah.
And I'm recording you. I'm down.
What
I'm not-
difference does it make if you're recording me? What does that do?
Nah, I'm just. I don't.
White Adam has a point.
Makes you scared. Makes
White
you
Adam
scared.
has a point. When you're recording, like you're trying to catch something happening. He said, "What difference? I don't give a shit if you're recording. What is it gonna do? Y'all's talking shit to me. I didn't do anything."
Yeah, who's a
You
thug?
racist, bro. You racist.
Oh, I love this right here. They call him racist. Look at the range of emotions he goes through before he agrees to it.
Racist, bro. You racist.
Maybe, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Did you see that? First, he was disgusted because they called him a racist. And he's like, oh. And then he looks at him and he's like, you know what? Maybe, actually, I am racist. He went through the whole thing before he just said, fuck it. Yeah, I am.
Racist.
Maybe, yeah, I am.
Yeah. You are?
Yeah.
Racist black
yeah.
bitch.
And what if...
Did you hear that? Dude,
He said black bitch?
He called the
Adam?
white guy.
Okay.
Oh, the black dude called the white guy a racist black bitch. If that's not the father of all Freudian slips.
That was a weird flex. Weird. That's definitely a yellow flag.
He was
He
projecting.
told on himself.
He was.
Yeah.
He told on himself. He was projecting. He called him a racist black bitch.
Racist black bitch.
And what if we beat your ass right now?
You won't do it.
Call me a nigga right
With confidence. You won't do it though, motherfucker.
now. What if we beat your ass right now?
You won't do it.
Call me a nigga
'Cause you-
right now. Yeah. Do it. Do it.
I think he thought about it right there.
That because the camera's
did.
recording. The camera, he said, doesn't do anything.
And here's the
Doesn't
thing
mean
too,
anything.
and he wasn't gonna do it because he truly felt Rogan with a hard R in his heart. He was gonna do it just because they were completely being dicks.
Yeah.
If that's the line you want me to cross, okay, fuck it. Here you go. I'll
Right.
lay down the gauntlet. But then he had the good sense, as the Boondocks has told us about the Rogan moment,
Yeah.
and that white man stopped for a second and said, wait a minute. This is some ignorant shit. This is why the murder rates are so high in the hood. Y'all are ready to do violence, go to prison, potentially kill someone over something as stupid as we're doing a protest where we're harassing you while you're patronizing this restaurant, and somebody drank your beverage. Because the dude even, like, one of them drank it.
Yeah,
I suspect
definitely.
it was the light-skinned dude.
Definitely.
But the dude is, they say, I didn't drink your drink, so don't call me a thug. As if you're not an accessory to drink stealing. All right. Sorry.
Amazing. I love it. I love that he almost said it though.
Yeah. Do
He
it.
thought,
Do it. Call me a nigga right
He thought about it
Call
hard.
me a nigga
you-
right now. Yeah.
He thought
Do it.
about
Call me
it.
a nigga right now. Bro, I'll
Yeah,
beat
do
your
it.
ass myself. Here, hold this camera.
Do it.
Look at
Come
the
do it
aggression.
right now.
Can
He
we
didn't even
pause?
say
Can we
it.
pause this 1 second? He didn't even say it. But first of all, their assumption is he feels racist.
Right.
Right? He doesn't like them because they're black.
Right.
It's not even possible in their mind that he doesn't like you because you're being a dick. You're interrupting his meal. You're doing some sort of performance art that has no point, and you're trying to lure him. You're egging him on because you think there's some sort of justification that if a magical word is said, then all of a sudden all bets are off and you're
Shazam!
pretty much authorized to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. So you're already getting, and these are three dudes probably in the prime of their physical condition. These dudes are in their 20s, maybe early 30s at the latest. And this dude he's got to be in his 50s, maybe even creeping up to 60s. He's an older gentleman. And there's three of them, one of him. He's way more frail and elderly compared to him, but they really think they're tough, threatening to beat him the fuck up. Am I the only person that sees that as just a sign of complete corniness and weakness?
Yeah.
That's your
No.
whiteness. That's your whiteness talking.
They are completely corny and completely weak, and I'm glad you pointed that out because I feel something about this. Let's just look at it a little bit more.
Do it. Call me a nigga right now. What you gonna do? Do it. What you gonna do?
Look at these
Do
motherfuckers,
it.
bro.
You just call me a
Like a
thug.
savage.
So what the fuck
Do
you
it.
gonna do
Do
now?
it. Do it.
Go ahead and call it. I ain't
I
touch you,
stick
my
you
boy.
right now.
Say it.
I ain't touch you.
Stick your ass,
Fuck
nigga.
is you talking
Fuck is
about?
you?
They're calling him
Stupid
nigga
ass
now.
girlfriend
Talking
too,
about,
nigga.
Yeah,
That's
don't
what I'm
call us
saying. You might
thugs,
as well
bro.
just
Don't call
say
us
the
thugs,
word.
because we not thugs, bro.
We not thugs, bro.
We not thugs, bro.
Yo, so what I want to point out about this video, I want
Definitely
to
could have
say,
fooled me though of them not being thugs.
I want to say that these three black men, I refuse to believe that this is their actual alignment in the world. You said this is some soft chump shit that they did. And it's absolutely true. This is the softest target they could have picked out. I think these guys they're like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Those dudes are not street certified.
They're
definitely
not
Fresh
streets.
Prince.
These are not street
Definitely
dudes.
Fresh Prince.
This is the only time they get to act like that without getting their ass.
Not with all
kicked.
those cameras they had in their hands. Those
They,
are not.
they
those are
were
not
the
street.
ones recording.
That's what I'm saying.
Who? How? If
They
you're out
waited-
here trying
they-
to thug, they were recording just in case anything happens. They have evidence for litigation.
They waited for that moment. They waited for that moment their entire life.
Those
I had
might
a,
be three British dudes trying to get roles on. They might be three British dudes from Oxford.
They're method acting.
In method act, they're trying to get a role in some upcoming HBO special. They bringing back The Wire or something, and they went around the corner, and the dude was like, "By George, Nigel, did you feel that adrenaline?" That's
Idris, Samuel.
Idris Elba was right. This is how he channeled his character. I don't believe him at all. I don't believe their thuggery at all. They looked awkward. Who in the world who says call me a nigga?
I can't take anybody serious when everything's being recorded.
But also too to consider like all of this toughness, right? And all of this
to an old man.
Chest out and there's a lot of dudes right now airing out the block and making it miserable for hardworking people in the hood, making it dangerous for little kids to go to the playground. There's real life urban terrorists responsible for more black bodies than white supremacy has ever been able to touch. 100 years of lynching of black people in America is done pretty much every 3 months in America by gang violence, if we want to talk numbers, right? So where's that same energy? I'd love to see these three dudes, especially the light-skinned one, just because in my experience, it's always the light-skinned dude that's pushing everybody harder to do some dumb shit. Yeah. There's just something like, like when Dave Chappelle said, look, if you see one white dude with a group of like 10, 20 black dudes, like that's the dude to be afraid. He had to do something to get those dudes to like him and respect him. He had to do something. So I really feel like this dude is just going out of his way to prove something and egging the other two on. But there's real life threats to black people that are far more deadly and far more ubiquitous than white men dining that just aren't interested with your political fuckery. Yeah, if you really wanted to change some shit, run up on the dude that's making the block dangerous for all of the kids in the neighborhood. Run up on the dudes that's having shootouts every weekend. Kids getting hit by strays. People that ain't got nothing to do with it getting hit by strays. They're the ones murdering black people more than anybody. They need your ire. They need you to go and check them like you check this old frail white man. Run up on them. I would applaud you. I would say, okay, you are certifiably tough. This shit is fucking corny.
But to go back on your question that you asked earlier about the first time I felt racist, it's moments like that.
I don't think we've gotten there yet.
But
I think you gave away the game.
I'm just saying it's moments like that where it's like I get disgusted and it's like, this is what we're arguing about. This is what the rah-rah's for. Like, there's real things.
But we got to start thinking differently. Black people don't need to own this. Dumb people need to own this. Let's make this a dumb thing. Let's make this a no character thing. Let's make this you're wasting everybody's fucking time. You're not an activist. You're not changing the world. You're a petty fucking bully that had some kind of visa or work permit from England. You, Nigel, and Chauncey came over here to get your method acting chops up, and you tried to intimidate this dude.
Yep. On some complete sucker shit. Yeah, I would go even further to say I want to double check here with Doobie, but I want to say that those activities would probably fall better under the umbrella of white supremacy. They were trying to colonize his piece at that restaurant.
Oh, most definitely.
They were behaving like colonizers. That's not black behavior. According to, Dr. Umar, all these people who have been finagling around the edges of blackness, they claim that blackness is like this all-encompassing compassion, and they just invited the white man in.
They taught us everything.
Yeah, all the violence.
It was perfect. So white people came to Africa and taught everybody to fight and be gay.
Exactly. Everything.
There was no violence, no homosexuality. White people just came here with their pride parades and their firearms, and they put us on.
Africa was one big Negrotopia. Everybody was just laying around with their heads on each other's laps. There was no warring tribes. They all spoke the same language. They all are from the same bloodline. And as I'm sure we all know, I think it was upwards of 97 to 98% of the population were actually kings and queens. There weren't very many subjects. There weren't any peasants.
It's very hard to get
the 3%.
Everybody, like we're all of us. Every single one of us. The kings and queens.
The 3% who weren't kings and queens were the albinos.
10 kids. You seem like a concubine. Like you don't think.
No, kings and queens.
But you'll hear a lot of people shit on sub-Saharan Africa, and the reality is like, yeah, they could have. There was great Zimbabwe. They could have built pyramids. They could have built spaceships and all this other shit. The problem was there was too many fucking kings and queens, no laborers, plenty of architects, plenty of engineers. When it came time to actually get shit done, everybody was royalty. Nobody wanted to be a laborer.
There you go. That's the downfall.
Kept things back. There was a surplus of kings and queens, and this really stifled progress.
Yeah, that was terrible. And like I said, they're from Oxford. I don't think these are real. And I don't want it to sound like I'm removing responsibility for their behavior. They still did what they did, and if it would have escalated, the dude would have had every right to protect himself and do whatever he had to do, because they was out there bugging.
Definitely.
They was out there bugging.
If your life feels threatened, pull out the blicky when things get sticky, because you had 3 against 1 and you're
and I'm pretty sure this was Arizona, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. I didn't see where it was.
So thank God it didn't go that route, but it's dumb behavior.
Because that dude was also carrying himself like he knows he's got the thing on him.
Oh yeah,
well, he didn't have it on him.
He might have, because when they said, "What if I beat your ass right now?" and he said, "You won't do it,"
he would have pulled it out.
You won't.
If he had it on him, that man looked like.
You know who would have pulled it out? Somebody from the projects of Chicago would have pulled it out. This 60-year-old white Adam. He knows when you've crossed the line and he's allowed to kill you. He ain't gonna play himself. You get in trouble for brandishing.
I don't know about that one.
You get in
trouble.
Adam
kill his own wife in the car.
Oh well, that's different. That's different. That's different.
Different video.
This man right here knows what's going on. He knows what's up. He's a smart guy. He sat down with his back turned. He wasn't scared of shit. He wasn't scared. He probably didn't want to get mixed up with him.
If those assholes though, like, to break it down, apparently somebody took his drink. If those assholes were responsible for taking his drink, that makes them even more of an asshole.
But that's what the BLM protesters were doing. They were going out to people in restaurants saying, "You don't care enough about black shit. We're gonna make a big old noise and start screaming and shouting so you can't enjoy your meal." And they were occasionally sitting down at people's tables, eating their food, drinking their drinks, because that is intelligent political activism. All of these white people didn't give a fuck about black people, but now that you've done that, they're huge fans. They're totally going to give a fuck now.
Yeah, those guys are officially excluded from blackness for how long? How long, Doobie? How long are they suspended from blackness?
So further notice. We'll just leave it as
that. Well, you know what? I like that. I ain't even mad at that. They are suspended from blackness till further notice.
Because I don't think anybody's been penalized that harshly.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, bro. That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. So, so I think those guys. I still think they are method actors. I don't know any real black people who act like this, and the ones who were genuinely in that alignment to threaten people,
they wouldn't wait for the N-word.
They wouldn't wait. They would have already been fighting, and they also would be stripped of their blackness and delivered to at least level 3 of Dante's correctional facility.
Listen, level 3 dreads do not do activism. Level 2 dreads do activism.
Yes, level 3 just talk. Level 2, you'll see them.
Level 3 dreads are not going out and doing activism. This is a luxury of bourgeoisie black people. Black people in the hood that are really doing hood shit, that are really fucking people up at the drop of a hat for no apparent reason, are not taking the time. They're not taking out of their day of being terrorists in the hood to go out to the white part of their local area to go and harass patrons of fucking restaurants. Like, these are clearly, you know what? I'll even take it a step further. They were sent out there from their local college campus organizing fucking group.
It was like a scavenger hunt. It was like, get a white man to call you the N-word and you get 50 points for the scavenger hunt. It's like, yeah, we're gonna engineer this confrontation real quick. That shit was goofy, bro. If he would have been some type of MMA fighter, he could have just knocked all 3 of them out and got away with it, because they were being super aggressive. But like Doobie said, these are some of the things that lead to people having to process feelings of racism and feeling like you're racist. Some people just accept it, right? There are some people who just are in the world racist. No matter what their alignment is, there's some group of people that they don't like. I don't like whites. I don't like blacks. I don't like Asians. There's people in the world who just live and exist like that. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who don't consider themselves an all-encompassing racist, but who have encountered situations or circumstances that left you with, like a racism taste in your mouth. There's like a little aftertaste of, wait, am I racist when I just thought that about this person or these people? So mine seems to be the worst out of everybody, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you mine. So I had a friend who used to send me back in the day a lot of super explicit videos from the internet. Like there was websites like ogrish.com, like they're not around anymore, but there was all these weird websites, faces of death kind of shit and weird porn, and he would just send me at random like, yo, check this out. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, bro? So he went on a stint where he found some website and he would send me like Iraqi or Middle Eastern like killing videos.
Oh man, those were tough. I stopped after that.
For like a week or two, at least 2 weeks, every day or so, every other day, he would just send me a video, and it would be some fucking crazy Islamic music, and a bunch of people standing out in the desert. And they would saw motherfuckers' heads off, and they would blow them up with grenades, like all kinds of crazy shit. But it was all from the same region. I watched a couple of these videos and then I was like, man, stop sending me this shit. I don't want to see this shit. I don't know how long it passed since I had stopped watching them to when this thing happened, but I was somewhere out with the family and we're just walking through this little downtown area, and a guy comes out of like what I think was like a dry cleaners or something like that. He had some clothes in his hand and he walked out and he was like, some Middle Eastern dude. And instantly, I didn't even have time to do the math in the front part of my brain. The back part of my brain was like, he's a fucking head cutter. He's one of those, he's a head chopper. Like, my brain did all the math for me. I had no choice in the equation. I got hot. Like, I hated this motherfucker for a few seconds because him and his people were so sick. You fucking, it's like, all of it played in my head within a few seconds. And I was just like, damn, bro, that's from watching
those beheading videos.
From watching these fucking beheading videos, bro. This is what it is. I've watched a million fight videos. I've watched all kinds of crazy shit. Nothing has ever left an imprint with race in my brain about the people who were acting out the shit in the videos. Nothing except that. I saw a bunch of them videos, and when I saw that Middle Eastern dude step out of that dry cleaners, he was every towel head chopper, sicko, like all of that shit ran through my head. And I don't take responsibility for it, you know what I'm saying? Because I know I instantly made the connection. I know where this is coming from, and that was a fucked up set of thoughts.
What's those things called in Star Wars? That was from the planet Tatooine. What do you call them?
No, I don't know. There was a whole bunch of shit on there.
But the main ones.
Sand people and shit.
Yeah. The sand niggas.
Yeah, the sand.
I forgot the name of them.
They are they got Tusken Raiders.
The
Tusken Raiders, bro. Yeah, that's who they are. That's exactly who they are.
Yeah.
They make the same noises. Yeah, the Tusken Raiders are definitely Muslim. For sure. They're definitely Muslim. But yeah, that was one of the things. And I'll also say this. When I was young, I was reading a lot of wild material, living in the hood, and one of the first experiences you get with knowledge of your own history and your place in the world as a young black person living in the inner city, a lot of that shit comes with hatred of white people. And some people, I would say most people probably grow out of it, but a lot of them, you think you're entitled to it because it's like, oh, slavery and they killed the Black Panthers and like all of these things, and you take it personal and you think you have the right to hate a whole race of people. And not very many people will explicitly say it. Like even if you listen to Farrakhan, he might not. Oh, you might find a few clips over the years, but it's going to be difficult to just find a lot of him just saying outright, let's hate white people. You're not going to hear that. But if you listen to him enough, if you're reading these books and Dr. York telling you the only white aliens is like these weird albino vampires called flugel rods and shit. That's where white people come from. It's like they seed all of this weird shit. And it's like, yeah, these motherfuckers are evil. White people was hanging black folks. They was lynching and all. So that just comes with a part of your young bull identity
It's
lot of
forced down your
times.
throat.
It is. That just comes with it. Like I said, I went to a predominantly white school for a little while when my mom's moved out of the hood, and they showed us fucking Mississippi burning in class, and it was just like, what? I hate everybody now. Like it's like you can't.
I mean, it was like the ones getting hung in the trees that always did it for me. I was like, oh, why are we doing this?
Yeah. Well, and when you're impressionable and it affects you more, to introduce children to that level of trauma and to couch it in racial dynamics which aren't exactly the same anymore, and that's why we always talk about race like it's still 1942 or 1860, right? We pretend like that's the milieu in which we're having all of these discussions and having these ideas, because we go into the time machine every time to relive some trauma when we talk about these things. And yeah, ever since we're kids in the public school system, they are drilling that shit into our heads. And the only time where slavery is ever kind of undermined is when we're told how bad we should feel about the Holocaust. That's why I remember the controversy coming in. It's like, should we feel worse about slavery or should we feel worse about Holocaust? Okay, we feel bad about slavery, the 400 years in America, or 250 years of slavery, 400 years total, Jim Crow, whatever. Okay, so when you say we're going to feel bad about slavery, well, are we going to feel bad about the Arab slave trade 1,000 years prior to the Triangle Trade? Like way more people, way harsher. Like, if you should thank God you came to the West if you're a descendant of the slave. If you went East, they cut your dick off. They cut your dick off because you had to be a eunuch dealing with the Sultan's palace and whatnot. So 1,000 years of trading Africans, that's slave trade. Not worse than the American slave trade. Okay, the Holocaust, 6 million dead. 12 million dead, 6 million Jews. But gypsies, gays, and blacks don't count. Our pain is the most important. We've already reviewed this. What about Mao? 30 to 80 million. What about Pol Pot? I think he had like 2 million. People put up numbers. Like, Stalin, I think, had 20 million, right? So when you talk about just murdering people, there's shit that's worse than the Holocaust. When you talk about the length of slavery, the harshness of slavery, and I don't give a fuck. If they cut your dick off and you still got to move boxes, that's a worse deal. That's a worse deal. I don't give a fuck. If they could whip the shit out of you.
If they cut your dick off and you had to list some boxes and you had a buck break, nigga, buck breaking was the option that you should have picked.
Look, I will let Massa get in my asshole 3 times a week if I can keep my dick. If you're giving me an alternative, keep my dick. I get to adopt your religion and go to church, okay? And I gotta pick some cotton, all right? Versus you're gonna work in the palace, but as soon as you get here, we gotta take that dick. The dick has got to go. So yeah, there's longer stints of slave trades. There's more harsher slave conditions. There's higher numbers than the Holocaust.
Than the humans. Was it the serfs? The serfs was like and white people. Like
I think you're thinking of the Moors.
Serfs were slave indentured servants too, weren't they?
I thought serfs were just anybody like under the English system that didn't own the land but just worked the land.
Yeah, that's pretty much slavery.
Right, and but that's not exactly, but sort of, kinda. It's you're almost just as powerless. But if we're talking about how bad shit is, like, there's shit that's worse. Okay, 400 years in America. Look, 700 years in Portugal, Spain, and France. Okay, Moor-sized temple. We're going to say the Moors were black, right? We saw Robin Hood in the 90s or 80s or whatever. Morgan Freeman was the Moor. All right, so we're throwing out the idea that there may be North Africans. They're straight up black people. The Moors were black people. Cool, I'm on the same page with you. Enslaved white people, conquered white people, sold white people into slavery for 700 plus years. I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. I don't subscribe to white supremacy, so I don't believe 2 + 2 = 4. But I'm pretty sure, if somebody has a calculator in the chat, help me out, 700 years is more years than 400 years. Is it possible that the Triangle Trade is cosmic retribution for Team Black conquering, colonizing, raping, and enslaving Team White for 700 years. Maybe we got 300 more years of this shit before we're even, if we're keeping score. But you know what a lot of these people do when they want to have these conversations? It's a very small dot on the piece of paper.
You're not even hitting it to the T. Like if you talk to real Hotep niggery, they tell you that we're the ultimate race and we're supposed to go through this. So this is God's doing.
Yeah.
We're supposed to.
Well,
We're the chosen one, so we're supposed to do.
Hoteps tend to be a little bit more studied and have a little bit more reasonable and nuanced view. They definitely have some weird shit when it comes to science. Like they'll reject a lot of everything's a religion. Whenever you're confronted with evidence that undermines your belief and you're willing just to turn your back on it and scoff at it, you're in a cult. You have some sort of religion. So they fall into that category. But, you know, look, if we're keeping tabs and we're keeping tallies and we're talking about what's the worst thing ever, you can only have some of these ridiculous views that would lead you to harass an elderly white couple at a restaurant on behalf of racial justice. If you think slavery only existed in America and only happened to black people, if you never touched on the reality that, yeah, you were the enslaver too. You had your run as an enslaver, and you had a nice run. You taught white people how to keep their filthy animals in barns and not fuck the sheep, and to wash their asses properly and to live outside of caves. Yeah, there was different times in which different racial dynamics took place, but humans were still humaning and doing fucked up shit. But we are indoctrinated from a very small age in this country to believe black slavery in America was the absolute most vile slavery of all time. And the Holocaust against European Jews was the worst mass murder genocide in the history of the world. And we're given these things as religious tenets. So all of these people with this religious fervor, they're operating from that position whenever they get into these discussions. And that's at the heart of their behavior, because they've been worked up with a religious fervor about these topics, and they don't have the ability to have a nuanced conversation. Like, dude, the history of the world is pretty long, dude. The world is a pretty big place. The numbers of atrocities
under the sun
humans have committed against humans is pretty expansive. The reason why you have such an ignorant take on all of this shit is because you're obsessed about one tragedy in particular. You have to expand your intellectual horizons. That would require humility, reading, and research. That shit ain't cool no more. That's why 90s hip-hop is the best hip-hop. Fuck everybody else and all this ignorant shit that's out there. Our generation of hip-hop adored reading books. That shit was cool. Yeah. That shit was promoted. These motherfuckers do not read.
Yeah.
Don't know YouTube, baby. They got YouTube.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they got YouTube, and they got all this other shit that has. They love the conspiracy theories more than we did too. But I mean, we were, like you said, we loved to read, and
we didn't
it was
have the
promoted.
Cool videos,
that's true.
PowerPoint presentation, the animation, the bam, the boom.
No, we used to pay
like to read the text
to go in and look at a dude on a projector, click a little button, and break shit down. Here's this. And if you couldn't make it, somebody sent you a VHS tape that they got. Like, yo, I got that Savior's Day VHS. Here, watch this.
And nobody had these videos of Dr. York. You know, they wasn't putting these cool videos together, showing you what the Black Angels look like. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta love Dr. York. How old was he? And he started aging?
He was 76 trillion years old before he actually
and he started
really
aging in the 90s.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, after 76 trillion years, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's a long time to be young.
It'll take its toll on you.
Yeah, and then the next 40 years were like hell on that brother. You know what I'm saying? So, the next 40 years was hitting different. So, but yeah, this is the shit that they were selling to us. Literally, we were buying these little books. They called them, we didn't even call them books. They called scrolls. So we were buying the scrolls. They would cost like.
It was a good marketing, man.
Oh yeah, the little books.
The scrolls.
Yeah, that's what they were called. Like if you, I actually still have one. Like I've managed to keep one through all my travels over the years.
That's why I love you, Don. Like this is why I love you. Like you, I don't go deep into the blackdom. I just touch the surface. But you've actually bought the books.
Oh yeah,
got,
yeah.
got
Listen,
got the research.
bro, listen.
Dude,
I was out
Dom's
on
been
the
to the deep end.
I was out on the block. This is what I was doing. After school, I'd be out on the block. All the vendors were down. This was downtown Newark, New Jersey, Broad Street, Market Street. Anybody from that area knows what I'm talking about. It's the downtown area, the two major cross streets. So we were down. That's where all the chicken spots were, all the stores, the arcade. And after school, I'd head downtown. And the brothers would just be out there, and we would buy a book. The little scrolls only cost like $5 at the time. There was bigger books for $10, and you just collect those little scrolls, and you'd read them, and you memorize that shit, and you'd be out there like, nah, brother. See, listen, what you don't know is the ancient Egyptians actually Marduk was black instead of we was deep, bro. We were deep in it, and we took so much pride and having all this esoteric knowledge that nobody else could know about. Because anywhere that one or two of us showed up, like if you at a spot where a bunch of people are hanging out and you, one or two of your friends actually know about this stuff, shit gets real fast. Nobody in the room is going to be able to take the conversation back away from you. Once you start talking about aliens, yeah, it was unavailable. Because, and what we found out later, what I found out later was this guy who was the head of this terrible cult called Nuabu, he basically was a deep reader. So he went and found all of this ancient Mesopotamian, ancient Sumerian stories and shit like that are available if you know where to look and what to read. And he just repackaged it all and started telling the story like from an eyewitness point of view. Like I was there. He said he was the angel Michael from the Bible. That's who I am. I'm a 76 trillion year old being. You also know me as Michael from the Bible. And now I'm in New York and Philadelphia giving talks, and you can pay $50 to come listen to me talk about how I've been here for 76 trillion years. We, as young people, didn't have the brains. Now, 76 trillion years is where I got off, right? That's where my train stopped. But leading up to that, I'm like, damn, this brother's smart. Where's he getting all this stuff from? And he's telling you about, 365 questions to ask a Christian. Why is this? Why is there a contradiction in the Bible? How come Jesus, like all of this mind-boggling shit we never thought of. And then he goes, oh, by the way, I'm the angel Michael and I'm 76 trillion years old. I'm like, okay, I think I'm done. But because some friends of mine stayed in it.
Yeah, that's silly. And what he could have just did was like, hey, I've devoted myself to study.
Right.
I've gone deep in ancient texts, not just under one particular religion. I've looked into the perennial philosophy and analyzed all these other cultures, and I've compiled a narrative, and I found certain contradictions, and I've gained new insights because I've devoted myself to study. If anything, that would be more impressive, more believable, and more of a blueprint to model. Because if you're telling everybody, look, what I'm doing, you can't do this shit unless you've been here for 76 trillion years.
Right.
You've given them an impossible bar. But if you tell them, like, look, I'm from the hood, I didn't always have this knowledge, I applied myself to getting it, this is how I've been able to discipline my life and change my life, and I've become a pillar of my community and help the people around me.
That's why supremacy.
Have a greater vision of themselves, have a greater sense of purpose, right? That's a better story to tell and more helpful to the people around you.
No,
bro, this is
198 trillion.
Instead,
Angel Michael.
This is how he presented himself. He stepped out like this, which I understand why now. I get it. You can't throw this shit away. The religion, the ritual, the enclosed cognition, it all matters. It all matters. The only problem is this shit wasn't true. He was lying to manipulate people. Also, allegedly a pedophile. I mean, not even allegedly. He went to jail for it. So, I mean, he's a
I don't think you had to say it wasn't true.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you're insulting the audience.
Just to be clear, what he was saying wasn't
true. We
don't
have to allege that.
Turns out he wasn't 76 years old. 76 trillion years old. So, but this is how he presented himself. He popped out this book. I had this book, 666, Leviathan, the Beast as the Antichrist. Just a bunch of info. You see who's the beast, right? There are a bunch of blonde-haired, blue-eyed people, and this is the real Trinity. These three black dudes right here. And he just, whoever his artist was, had it popping. This is how he first...
Marketing genius.
Marketing genius, bro.
He had it down.
These were the $5 scrolls right here. These were you see, scroll 100. Is Jesus the God of the Quran? Scroll 36, The Lost Tribe. These I still got one somewhere, but I had these joints, bro. I had a collection of them. And this is what Jesus really looked like. And oh wow, Jesus is actually black. And when you come from an experience that teaches you, okay, so black people, let's start talking about black people. Okay, first slavery, then Jim Crow, and now you're here. If that's your introduction to your quote unquote identity, when somebody says that actually Jesus was black, actually it's this reparative concepts that get into your brain that make you feel empowered and make you feel good. Like, it's very difficult to scrutinize this information and be like, no, this is probably wrong, because it makes you feel so good when you process it. It's a warm, fuzzy feeling like, oh, black people are actually the kings of the universe? That's interesting. I didn't know that. You just accept it. And it's coming from this guy, dressed like an Egyptian. And then a few years later, he was dressed like a Native American. He was wearing headdresses. People are outside holding pictures of him. They called him El Mahdi. And like, he was a real, that's Jazzo right there. I didn't even notice that. That's hilarious. But he was a real like icon for these people coming up in the hood. Even deeper, I think, for a while, maybe even for a short time, but it was deeper than it was with Islam or anything else like that, because he was talking some fantastical shit.
He was saying things and changing people's minds and ideas. Like, it's unfortunate, these guys got to come in and they do all this good thing. They say all these good things come about from these things that they talked about, but it comes from evil intentions, and it just fucks up the whole thing in the long run. But I think when it comes to like black people, I'm not saying black people, but just the diaspora, there is like a disconnection of history.
Yeah.
So when you have like all this shit coming to you all at once, and all you've had growing up is just like you said, slavery, Jim Crow, here you are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this shit was seeding some ideas, man. It was seeding some ideas into you. I mean, look at this book, Breaking the Spell on Blacks. So it's got this white colonizer Mason kind of guy with the Ku Klux Klan hood on with two slaves. You don't need, what more do you have to say in words? The book doesn't have to say hate white people, but if this is the information that they handing out in the hood, where everything you've seen is poverty and fucking you blame it on white folks, this shit was it was very, for a long time, it was it was some sweet shit to be into at the time. But like I said, 76 trillion years old is where I stopped the train.
He was a tiddler.
Yeah, he's definitely a diddler. He was a kid diddler. I mean, He's in jail for it right now, so it's not even allegedly. But this guy, marketing genius. There's a lot we could learn from him if you want to use it for not nefarious purposes. There's probably still a lot you can learn from the way he packaged this shit. There's still people to this day who consider themselves Nuwaubians. There's people who maintain that he was innocent. He's innocent. He didn't do anything. That it was all lies. Brother Polite is
a part of his stuff.
Yeah, Brother Polite, who's also right now being indicted for kid diddling. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if that. I don't know. I'm just saying that's just the information. So I don't know what that means. I mean, the original guy was a kid diddler, and then one of the people who was touting his innocence and bringing Nuwaubu into the new age he also turned out to be a kid diddler, and the kid happened to be the child of one of his wives. So it's like madness, absolute madness. But yeah, Dr. York, bro, he was the man. He was the man. He had, look at him, dressed like a Mason. So look, he was styling and profiling, bro.
Marketing genius.
Yeah, not too many. I don't even think Farrakhan ain't never even done it like this.
He got it like that. Farrakhan, he just didn't do all the dressing up, but Farrakhan got it just like that.
Yeah, but he wasn't styling like this, bro.
No, they're not gonna be those. The Muslims ain't gonna be.
Look at some with the braids. I mean, he had an R&B album out. He was singing, "Kiss Me Softly," some funk. And then he just was like, "Oh, by the way, I know I had that R&B album 2 years ago, but I'm actually a 76 trillion year old alien, and I'm here to teach you about black people being the kings of the universe." And everybody was just like, "Oh yeah, sounds good. All right, come on in."
Hey, look. Farad Muhammad was selling watches door to door before he became God. So, how are you gonna judge him,
bro? I love it. It's absolutely amazing. We don't have no questions to ask. This guy is I heard back in the 90s that there was
Elijah Poole. Forgive me. Sorry, I had to correct.
I heard back in the 90s.
Either way, he was never seen again by Elijah Muhammad.
There was some people who went to a Dr. York lecture. and everybody came back bugging out. They said while he was giving a speech on stage, he stretched and grew to 8 feet tall. Like his true form came out, and then he shrunk back down and he passed out, and they had to carry him away off stage. And people were spreading this around in real life. You were hearing people, but nobody was there. They were just like, nah, my homeboy went, and he told me. Now this girl I know went. And yeah, he grew 8 feet tall, and he passed out because, you know, he couldn't hold his angelic form. And I was
After
just like,
72 trillion years, you can't figure out how to hold your form, your natural form.
well, he was starting to age by then. That
Oh,
was like
yeah,
towards the
aging
tail
is
end of
You
the
know, the
70s.
90s was rough.
Right,
The
I'm
90s were
sorry.
rough.
90s was rough for everybody.
Then
Okay,
then
fair
they
enough.
said he could teleport and he could do all this crazy shit and that, but then he got locked up in a cell, and it was like, why don't he just, like, you know, why don't the mothership come just beam him out of the cell?
And look, and before, because I know people in the audience are probably going to judge this pretty harshly. Like, are you serious? People believe this fucking ridiculous shit? Like,
Yeah.
this is fucking
Yeah.
retarded.
Yeah.
But take into consideration that we're still having this exact same conversation right now. People are framing it in economics. People are framing it in religion. People are framing it in politics, right? But we're still having the same debate now that we've been having before any of us were even born. What the fuck do you need to tell black people in the hood in order to fix this shit? That's really what the conversation is. What do you
98 trillion
need?
years old, and I come from Mars.
Look,
you wanna-
because
Apparently.
people say Farrakhan's an agent. You know, he was the one that made sure Malcolm X got killed and yada yada yada. I understand there's varying opinions or whatnot, but at the end of the day, if there's people that they were going to end up being level 3 dreads and they were just going to be urban terrorists, and they get a little bit of religious discipline and they get a story about a mothership, they start going door to door, hawking bean pies or whatever the fuck. And then all of a sudden, they become better fathers, they become better neighbors, they become better sons, they become entrepreneurs, they become disciplined pillars of the community. If your alternative is this person's gonna potentially hit one of your babies in a drive-thru or a stroller with a stray, or they're gonna have some ridiculous doctrine that they're spewing, but they're not causing no problems and they're being productive and they're getting shit done. If that's the alternative, like, I'm not going to be mad that that story has to get told to get that result. And even if Farrakhan did get Malcolm X killed, I'm not going to put that all on Farrakhan, because apparently all the dudes that shot Malcolm X were known about for years, and the hood didn't do shit. So fuck all that not snitching shit. If you didn't handle Malcolm X's killer, arguably one of the greatest human beings that the American race struggle has ever produced, one of the most enlightened people of integrity.
I think he was Jesus.
Look,
I think if Jesus came back, he in my
he
opinion,
fits the model.
he
If you're
fits the
talking
model.
about laying your life down for a friend, he didn't beat up white hookers. He didn't cheat on his wife. He didn't get rich hawking what he had. There's no statues built to him. He doesn't have a monument that looks like two hands holding a turd. He ain't get shit. But he was undeniably a person of the utmost integrity who was not a grifter, who did not get money and could have taken that path, but had too much integrity to do it. And the hood knew who killed him and didn't do shit. So I'm not going to put all of that on Farrakhan. But the larger point I was trying to make, if you got to tell a narrative to somebody to get them to get their life right, to get better results, I'm not mad at it. Because now in every conversation, like the conversation that you've pretty much taken over Mash to Ray's chat, I don't know how he hasn't blocked you yet, so congratulations, sir. You found the right tone. But it's line after line pretending the hood doesn't have problems, as if we're saving black people face, as if the reality isn't known to everybody. Like, we're just pretending. Well, you know, a lot of them statistics are fake. You know, a lot of times the numbers are skewed. You know, a lot of times there's dead bodies in morgues. I don't give a fuck what there's no realer stat than that. I don't give a fuck. Well, you know, they just lock up the wrong person. Well, who do you think shot them? If it wasn't this dude, then who? Because I'm pretty sure we're going to be right in the same demographic. Like, why are we going to all of these links to pretend the hood is not dangerous, that it's not an outlier for problems, for violence? There's no shame in just admitting that's what it is. Everybody doesn't have to own it. Black people specifically don't have to own it. To some degree, American society and the American government kind of have to own it. There's a lot of policy decisions that contributed to it. But at the end of the day, like, that's what all of this fighting and back and forth, internet chatter and arguments about race really boil down to. Because we're not talking about black people as a whole. Whenever we talk about black people in these kinds of conversations, we're really talking about the hood. Whether it's about solving violence, solving poverty, ending racism, or that's really what we're talking about. So when you hear a conservative talking about, blah, 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 and statistics and the, victims crime report and FBI statistics, they're not talking about the black dude that lives down the street from them. They're not talking about Walter that they see every morning and say hello to. They would probably make a racist comment like, you're one of the good ones. They like Walter. They don't mind living near Walter. Walter's a great fucking neighbor. When they have conversations about these larger Dick Cloud voodoo doll mascots, they're specifically talking about the violence in the hood. So why pretend that it's not an outlier, and why pretend that all of this rhetoric isn't effective? And this has pretty much been what the black community especially in the hood, is always waiting for, because that's the model and everything pushed into schools. Like, where's the next Martin Luther King? Who's gonna be the next Malcolm X?
Well, that's
right.
Gone. Yeah.
And when Huey Newton and Bobby Seale started the Panthers, that's what they said. Like, Malcolm's dead, we're gonna be the heir to Malcolm's legacy. That's what we're gonna do. We just ain't getting down with Elijah Muhammad's ridiculous doctrines about cats, dogs, and rats and all that other shit. Like, we're not going to do that, but we're gonna have the same kind of principles about discipline and self-preservation and organization. But that's always what people are looking for. Nobody's looking for solving the problem yourself, being your own savior within your own family, within your own community, and figure things out. The black community in America has been trained to wait for a figure, and every couple of years we get one of these dudes. We get a Malachi Z. York. We get a Dr. Umar. We get a Stephen Coakley. Somebody comes along who's like, okay, I got the prescription for this shit, but it's undeniable that the black community has almost been trained by the way we teach history and the way that we value things in this country to just wait for some black messiah figure to fix everything for them.
But nobody wants to be a messiah anymore.
Well, no.
Everybody just wants to talk and make complaints.
They want donations. Donations.
But I don't want to be a leader.
Gifts.
I don't want to be a leader.
Gifts. Gifts.
I don't want to be a leader.
More
I don't want
gifts.
a street named over me. And everybody selling crack and tits over there.
Nah, it's madness, bro. It's
Come on,
madness.
man. That was the end of it. The Black Panther Party, and I mean the original, not the new Black Panther Party. I mean the original Black Panther Party. That was the end. Tupac was basically the last remnant of any real black man would say something.
And he got caught up in method acting too.
And he got caught up too, but unfortunately, that's because he got caught up into blackism. He just was like a nigga looking for a father figure his whole life, and it led him to the wrong path.
He had Matulu. He had a father figure. I will not give him any excuses.
I don't know. But at the end of the day,
behold your Messiah.
Donation.
He's gonna fix all the problems, though. So let's not teach anything about economics, about budgeting, about investing, about why it's so important to end violence so we can attract investment and things can change. Fuck all of those conversations. They're pointless. We don't need to do it ourselves. Individuals don't need to contribute to the solution. We just need to wait around for somebody who's a lightning rod for attention and just hope and pray that they actually give a fuck and they're going to help and not just run off with all the fucking money. It's a bad strategy. Yeah. So sometimes a dude can come through and say, look, I'm 72 trillion years old. What's up? Let me fix some problems.
Exactly, because it's a lot of gaps. A lot of gaps that need to be filled. There's a lot of gaps that need to be filled. There's a lot of holes, and mentally, spiritually, psychologically, like all of that shit. There's some spaces that need to be filled, and if you're not careful, there's a lot of keys that can fit the lock. It's not like you need somebody to be completely ethical and like that's not what it is. If it tickles the right parts of your brain and you feel empowered and you feel good about yourself, they can sneak in a lot of other shit in that Trojan horse.
Definitely sneak in shit. It's bad. I was in that Christian cult, and then he's it. What always blow my mind with them is like you're trying to be this good, perfect person for God, right? But then when they talk about other people, it's like I'm better than them. It's like how are you better than them? But the person in the book says don't judge other people, love other people, and then you over here talking down on people because like I'm a Christian. Like it's just it's easily things could be slided in there because when you're trying to change for the good as an individual, and then you have a fucking like snake talking behind your ears and telling you bullshit, it fucks up the whole thing. It fucks up the whole thing.
Yeah. I ain't with it. Like I said, now that's why I encourage everybody to kind of, do their own thing.
I agree with Spartan too. I didn't mean to cut you off. I agree with that. That the issue in the black community isn't oppression, it's the inability to thrive in freedom. I completely agree with that. That's why foreign black people can come in, get businesses, make money, become doctors, become lawyers and all that because they understand that what did you say, Yakub? They cut your dicks off on the east side?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of dick cutting. If you got brought to the east and you didn't get shipped out west, you definitely lost your dome.
Yeah, so
when
they come west, they're like, oh no sir, we get to keep our dicks over here. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different world.
Yeah, man. It has to be. It has to be. But that's why everybody should be seeking out their own shit and hopefully maybe learning to keep it to themselves and stop arguing about who's supposed to be doing what. Just find your own space, and if you get the best results that you can possibly get, just be happy there. I'm with it. I'm not going to shame anybody about it. I'm not going to ask them to prove that it's true or nothing like that. If you're like, yo, I found this cult and the leader's 76 trillion years old, I'm going to be like, word. No doubt. Crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, it's crazy, son. That's some crazy shit.
We start aging, bro.
That's very interesting.
I just want to know. I want to know the aging process.
How about them Raiders? How about them Raiders? How about that blue team? You know what I'm saying? I'm not playing that game. I don't have nothing to say. I'm not debunking it. I'm not debating. I'm not pulling at any threads. Like, are you sure he's 76 trillion years old though? None of that. I have no opposition for you whatsoever. I found a place I can join. I think this is gonna be the place for me. All I gotta do is let him fuck my wife.
You know that happened to me after I left the cult. Somebody who got kicked out wanted to talk to me, and she started telling me about a church that she wanted to be in. And it's a Korean church, Christian church, and it's Mother God. I was like, okay, I have to go. I gotta go to work.
The unfortunate reality is like, it would be wonderful if these people that jumped up and wanted our attention really wanted to be facilitators of our personal growth. Because what you'll find is a lot of the people, at least in my experience, a lot of the people that do the self-work to kind of get to a point where they're reasonably enlightened and they've kind of figured this thing out, they don't want to have power over other people's lives and tell them what to do. They kind of just want to do their own thing. And so it's unfortunate because the people that would wield power righteously aren't hungry for power.
Right.
And the people that would take that power just as an opportunity to take advantage of people, there's no shortage of them. And they practice in the mirror every day. They do their, neuro-linguistic programming shit. Yeah. They figure out how to have their how they look when their face is seen from a different angle and their hand gesticulation, how that resonates with people, and they get really good at it, but they don't give a fuck. And I think it almost kind of would lead you to the conclusion like, yeah, that you have to do it for yourself. You have to. Like, if somebody shows up and says, I'm going to help you do it, subject yourself under my leadership and I'll get you there, they definitely want to take advantage of you. Chances statistically, and I don't know that for certain, maybe they won't. Maybe they're the exception to the rule. But if we have enough historical data points to reference, there's enough grifters in the world that chances are they probably don't. Like the truly righteous model is, look, I don't want any power over your life. I don't want to take any money from you that you don't want to freely give me. And all I want to do is point you in the right direction. I'm not even going to tell you that you need me. This is something eternal that's a prescription to cure all of this shit. And I didn't create it. I wasn't there 72 trillion years ago when it was created. I just happened to stumble upon it. And oftentimes, if people are honest, in a lot of after a lot of grief and somewhat clumsily. But now that I got it, hey, I want to share it with you because it looks like it might be able to help you. Right. But when you approach people that way, it's not convincing enough.
Right.
It's not charismatic enough. It's boring. Not. It's fucking boring. Not only is it boring, it's a responsibility. And one of the greatest examples is in Christianity, where they teach you to be saved by Jesus. It's all about Jesus did this, Jesus did that, so you don't got to do shit. So God saved you. God did everything. It's God. And from an intellectual point of view, like if there is a God, I think that makes the most sense. It would be kind of silly as a human being to think that there's anything you can do that's going to impress the fucking God of the universe. But what they don't teach you, and it's all throughout the Bible, but they gloss over it and they find a different way to interpret it. You're supposed to grow up to be God. You're supposed to imitate God until you become God in character. And that's a responsibility. Right. Nobody wants that. Be my charismatic dude. Talk me out of my money. Tell me everything is going to be all right as long as I do what the fuck that you do. But don't put any fucking onus on me. And the reality is like your life's not going to get better. The relationships with the people around you aren't going to get any better. Your own personal sense of acceptance and purpose isn't going to get any better unless you unravel and figure that shit out for yourself. That's the truth. And you know what? That message does not get as much traction as it should, but the reality is like that's the most beneficial one, and it's the one that's least likely to fucking swindle you. But the truth is, like, we love to be swindled. We love a good story, and we love to be talked out of our fucking money.
Yeah, this is the truth. And this is the enclothed cognition. That's why it matters. It matters to the person who's wearing the clothes and to the people who are communicating and perceiving the person who's wearing the clothes. Which is why somebody told me a long time ago, one of the easiest ways to sneak into a concert was to get all black shirts and buy a bunch of ice. And just have the ice all on, on your shoulders and shit, and go and rush in like you already supposed to be there. And they said nobody in their right mind at a concert, a big concert, would ever stop dudes carrying ice, especially walking fast. Like you know how important this shit is for the bar and everything else, and not gonna stop you. And just if you look the right way to people, they won't question it. There's a lot of shit you can get away with if you wear a suit rather than sweatpants and a t-shirt. You could be up to some real nefarious shit, but if you look the right way, people won't second guess it a lot of times, especially if you're behaving according to what they think you should. So it's this cognitive effect that takes place just by them observing the way you are. They're going to make a snap judgment and say, oh, that guy's supposed to be here, or they're going to be like, oh, we should probably call the police. And it's all in their heads. And I was listening to Alan Watts one time. And no, this wasn't Alan Watts. This was actually Bernardo Castro, the physicist guy. So he said that originally, this is true, originally the shaman who interacted with the people in the village didn't take the psychedelics. The shaman took the psychedelics, and he would bring you into his space, and he would have a vision quest for you, and then explain it, because you don't know what he knows, so you couldn't even draw as much information from the vision quest as he could. So he would trip for you and then tell you everything you needed to know while you were after he was done tripping. The way he carried himself in the village, he said that this is why humans need this shit so much, and the shamans understood that. They could have just tripped in their tent and came and told you what was going on, but instead they wore crazy robes with all kind of colors and shells and stones on them, and they had the staff with shit hanging off it and eagle feathers on his head, and he would come out and do everything in front of people and scream at the sky and shit. It was a placebo effect so that the people who he was going to give the information to would believe what he was giving them. So he went through all these extra theatrics because he understood how it would affect the people. You can't just be cool about it and kick your feet up like, yeah, I'm gonna go into the vision world real quick and I'll tell you what I see when I come back. They'll be like, I don't believe you. But if you go outside and you're like, hello, just screaming at the sky and shit, they're like, oh, this shit is real. I better listen to this motherfucker. And it's crazy. This is what Dr. York was doing. This is what some of the people who have taken the most from these communities, this is what they did. They had the right intonation in their voice. They had the right timbre and rhythm when they speak. We know what it is. We've heard it a million times. Like, I already don't trust you if you sound like a Negro preacher. I don't care what you're talking about. You could be talking about stocks. You could be giving me directions. I'm not going to believe you if you sound like if you're like, yeah, yes, sir, and the Lord. I'm like,
you were supposed to make a left,
this motherfucker
but you made a right at the roundabout.
This motherfucker trying to get in my pocket, bro. I don't believe you. You're trying to get in my pocket. As soon as you start talking like that, I'll be like, where's my wallet? Start patting myself down and shit. Like, make sure I got everything. This motherfucker ain't lifted nothing.
I don't even give them niggas the time of the day, bro. I'd be like, good day, and I keep walking. I'm so over it.
It's so deep in the psyche of people who go to church and all that. It works. It works. I don't know if it works on white folks. It definitely works on black people. I'm not sure.
It works on the diaspora. That's what I'm trying to say. The diaspora it works on them. But the spell is so easy on them. Like, I'm pretty sure that this works on everybody because there's Scientology. There's all these other white religions that people fall victim to. So it's like, but when it's black people, it's just goofy as fuck.
Yeah, that gets you,
it's
bro.
It's just goofy as fuck. It's the goofiest shit. And it's just,
but it makes sense. It's right in line with everything else. It's a straight line from black folks' experience in America and all these other ideas, and you trickle it down to this guy jumping around in the church and driving a Rolls Royce while your entire congregation is poor.
It explains sense. Egypt to me. It explains Egypt to me when I see it. If I have to sit back and think about it, because like the pyramids were there already. These motherfuckers just came, built over it, and they have no clue the purpose of they were there. It's the same ideology.
Do you think the earliest royalty and kings and shit like that, like the first couple 100 years of that shit happening, do you think they really believed that they were of a superior bloodline and like ordained by God to be the kings of the land? I think they was just barbarian motherfuckers who had big gangs and they could smash your head with a fucking battle axe and they're like, well, I run this shit. I think it took a long time for them to start believing their own hype when it comes to bloodlines and sitting on thrones and wearing high heel shoes. Guys, that's where high heel shoes came from. They came from a king who was short and he didn't want himself to look short, so he wore high heel shoes, and then it just trickled down to the rest of the population and prestige and all that shit. These motherfuckers used to get gout. They used to get gout and show it off like it was prestigious. Because you get it from eating a lot of rich foods, salt.
Gout is the worst thing you could have happen to you. That's the worst pain you could feel.
Bro,
stay away from them heavy meats.
But listen, instead of being like, yo, I need to change my diet and act right, they created pillows like the Ottoman that they could put their foot up on, and they would get a fancy sock to put on their foot, a bejeweled fancy sock, so you could show off your gout, because you poor motherfuckers are eating potatoes and root vegetables and shit. You can't even consume enough calories to give yourself gout. So my gout is prestigious. I got mad wine and smoked meat and shit. Like, look at my disease. And this is their mindset. It all comes back to the same idea. It's like, I'm just going to show off so big, people will believe me. A king could easily, in most situations where that was taking place, could just get run over. All his guards, even the people outside, there's enough peasants in town to storm in here and tear you apart with our bare hands. But if you don't have them psychologically hooked into the idea that you're really of a different bloodline and you're really ordained by God, and you're going to be punished if you overthrow this kingdom, that's what keeps them safe. That's how they can sleep at night. If not, it's just pitchforks and torches. We're going to fuck you up, bro. You're just a regular guy. But it's the cognition of it all, which is why it's so important. Which is why I understood after hearing the homie where we got our clip from, Dr. Phil Valentine, say metaphysics is going to have to be the so-called religion of tomorrow. And at first, I was at a space where I wanted to abandon the concept of religion completely and just figure my own thing out. I don't know why, because when you say religion, you think of the three major religions. You don't think of an all-encompassing, I can find a religion I like and I'll deal with that. All you think of is, the three major ones, and a lot of people grow up with traumatic experiences connected to those religions. A lot of people do. So when you hear the word religion, I don't want to accept that. There's times in your life when you're like, nope, whether you call yourself agnostic, atheist, or just spiritual or whatever, you just shy away from the term religion.
Yeah, because they had horrible experience with a human.
Absolutely. Some people shy away.
Wasn't true.
Just the word God.
Yeah.
Just the word God can fuck people up sometimes because it's connected to all these other things. It comes with a long tail, right? So when I heard him say that, I kind of ignored the religion part. But over time, it kept coming back to me. We started using it as the clip to the show. We start talking about it and digging down into these concepts. You can't abandon religion. There's something in humans that makes it easier for them to process these higher concepts when you add ritual and religion and these aspects to it. It's again, I think it goes back to the placebo idea. If you say, I want something, that's one thing. But if you actually go through the process of putting yourself down on your knees and putting your hands together and praying or meditating on it, when you introduce those type of rituals, it anchors itself in your mind a different type of way. And if nothing else, you give yourself a sense of peace and a release from some anxiety, because if you believe in the system that you're interacting with, you think if you prayed about it, it's like leaving God a message on his phone. Like, I talked to him. It's going to get taken care of. So you can relax just a little bit. I prayed hard about it. I meditated on it. You can take a deep breath and give it to God, give it to the universe, whatever. So that's why religion is important. It's important to light the candles and burn the sage and all this stuff, even though some of it does have objective effects. But some of it is just a thing that you do to anchor the ideas that you're trying to get a hold of in your own head, to capture the energy that you're trying to embody. There's rituals that you go through that help it just take place in your own head, in your mind, and all of that shit. So it's important. You can't throw it away. You can't throw away religion. You can't throw away religious figures. You can't throw away the hierarchy of those concepts. If you invite 100 people to live on your compound, we starting a cult, I love all y'all, we gonna go live together. They go say, well, how does this thing go? Nothing. Everybody just do what they want, and we're going to live, we're going to chill. Humans in their current configuration, it probably won't be long before somebody's in your house with their fucking feet on the table.
But that's what America basically had figured out in the long run. When it comes to like a community creating something and not having, like, the religion is there, but it's not all sell all when it comes to like man and law, correct?
Yeah, well, they tried. I mean, I think their original idea was to be completely religious, puritanical fucking psychos, but that shit don't work. You can't. The more you oppress people, the more you press the spring down, the higher it's going to bounce back up when you let it go.
Well, not really. They didn't. A lot of them had that religious background, but they understood and they went to great efforts to outline in the Constitution that there is no state-sponsored religion. Most of the argument is that if you're not a moral people, freedom's not going to work. Freedom, like somebody and you basically alluded to it, right? Like if people aren't configured properly, someone's going to be in your house with their feet on the table. Yeah. Like the law and rules are for immoral people. People that are naturally configured or have developed themselves to be configured in such a way that they aim to do right by other people. You don't got to beat those people over the head with rules and threats of violence if they don't conform to the rule, right? So it wasn't like that puritanical strain was in there, but really it was just the notion that, look, we're not going to have a state-sponsored religion, but you need to be moral in order for this freedom thing to work, or it's not going to work out. What America did do really, really well, and I think the free market helped do that, or contributed to it, is that, and maybe this is why culture is such shit now, because we don't necessarily have to be bound in a common purpose or a common culture, but we're all bound in our necessity to take care of ourselves. So we may go to a job that we hate, but we need money. We may live in a neighborhood full of people we can't stand, but we can't afford to live anywhere else. So a lot of the things that keep all of this moving is the desperation of the populace. Because I think the majority of people aren't making decisions from a position of power. It's pretty much like, I got no choice. What else am I going to do?
That's the middle class.
So that system that's in place has helped us to get a lot of shit done, to be very productive, but to have no commonality in purpose or culture while we're doing it.
Right. Yeah, you have to. These things have to take place. There has to be structure. You got to tell people this is your job, this is your space, and at least, like I said, until a certain amount of work has been done, where you can kind of leave people to their own devices. But the way we're configured right now, we know power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. I believe that's true from the top to the bottom. Whether it's a billionaire deciding to deforest 100 acres and killing the indigenous population, or whether it's a manager at McDonald's who decides to be a tyrant because he got promoted. It's the same energy. It's the same thing, and it'll keep projecting itself through human behavior until a deeper concept is pursued, which is why we say metaphysics or we're fucked. I know you probably, people listening and tuning in now, they've heard us say that a few times. I'm sure it's in the intro, but that's something I absolutely stand on. I was talking about this last night in ceremony with some friends, and the idea that there's any objective item that we could point to, whether any structure that we could point to, without considering how humans are and the things that we need to fix, I think it's all doomed to fail no matter what, until we start looking at deeper concepts about our existence and our relationship with each other. So if you think everything, whatever the problem is that you've identified, the thing that really grinds your gears, if you think it's going to be fixed on paper or by people calling themselves different alignments, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, or I'm a liberal, like any of that, if you think it's going to be solved if less people were gay, or if more people were trans, or if I could live around only black people, my problems would be solved, or if there were no black people here, my problems would be solved, I think all of those people are wrong. I think the common denominator, the problem with all this shit, is just human behavior. Yeah, we could always grab a specific group, like, yeah, but Mexicans are really bad. And we could probably have a talk about that. Yeah, the cartels, they cut motherfuckers. Yeah, that shit's fucked up. But this is not unique to the Mexicans. But these black folks is finding Asians in the street and punching them in the face. Yeah, that's fucking horrible. It's fucked up. But this is not a unique behavior. This is what people have done to each other forever and always for a million different reasons. So I don't think that shit's going away. I don't think it's going away. Whether you call it, try socialism. Try it. Get yourself an apartment, invite a few people in, and see what happens.
That's the east side, by the way.
I gotta correct you,
though. That's the east side.
And I hate to be an asshole, because I get the larger point that you're trying to make, but nobody thinks if I just lived around black people, all my problems would be solved. Literally, nobody thinks that. I know you were trying to cover all bases to make the point that tribalism isn't the way, but literally nobody believes that. Oprah lives in a majority white neighborhood. Farrakhan lives in a majority white neighborhood. Ice Cube lives in a majority white neighborhood.
What about Umar? Umar might believe that.
Umar needs
wait till he gets enough donations. He will live across the street from Ice Cube, because the reality is Nas a billionaire, Jay-Z's a billionaire. Yo, you could go live in your old neighborhood, revitalize it, and make it super comfy for yourself. Or especially if you're a southern dude that got money. Like, you could bulldoze a lot of them shitty ass houses and build some nice, you got the money to do it. You could go live. The fact of the matter is, you don't want to deal with that shit. You don't know how to fix that shit. As much love as you claim that you have from your hood, you cannot be 100% safe there, and you don't feel that your family is safe there. Because if that was the truth, Ice Cube would still live in the hood. Fuck these devils. Fuck these cave bitches.
Yeah.
Fuck them. I don't want nothing to do with them. I love my black people, but I don't want to live around them. So stop it. I don't get if you
donations. Donations. Gifts.
Once he gives the nut, he's gonna be going over to Farrakhan's house. Brother, can I borrow some sugar? Do you have any green tea? I just ran out. Can I bother you, brother? He will be living if he had the opportunity. If you holding up, first of all, nobody that loves themselves or their loved ones should be going to Red Lobster. That is not a gift card you should be holding up with any kind of sense of victory. He's holding up like a heart piece in Zelda.
Well, just remember,
not everybody had the luxury of going to Red Lobster in the 90s.
Remember, this is a black man we're talking about here. It's a black man. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm telling you,
we got to cut him some slack. Red Lobster is like that's a 4-star restaurant.
You could trick a few of them. Dates.
That's a 4-star restaurant for a black man.
It's a Michelin star. It's a hood Michelin star.
I'm telling you, you can take a few days. If you didn't have the luxury of going to Red Lobster in the 90s as a kid, you could easily bag a few hood rats.
It was okay in the 90s. It was pretty good in the 80s, okay in the 90s. It's been declining ever since. I'll never turn down a Cheddar Bay biscuit.
Never.
I'm not gonna lie. Those
but
are
you
delicious,
can buy that at Publix.
You gotta make them yourself.
Yo, you want some seafood? There's local places that aren't chains. If you're gonna go to a chain like Bonefish Grill, it's 1,000 times better.
It's a high-end McDonald's. When he's like,
yeah, you know what?
Oh shit!
McDonald's.
You know what you want. Yo, Red Lobster is McDonald's with a bow tie.
Damn, that made so much sense.
McDonald's on Grammy night. That's what Red Lobster is.
That's it. It still has the hookers, still has the prostitutes, still has the homeless man asking for money at the corner. But it's Red Lobster.
That's true, bro. Damn, Red Lobster is McDonald's in a bow tie. Fuck. Okay, well, again, this is genius shit that we be binding through here. You know what I'm saying? But
the chat asked us who's dropping the Patreon link. That's coming soon.
Yeah, we're working on it. We want to make sure that we have some things laid out that's going to be worthwhile for the people who are listening, and worthwhile for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we still mastering the craft of being consistently providing value to the audience. Once we know for sure, we've grown a lot, but thanks to Devon and a lot of new people are listening. But we're definitely going to be in here with some extra things for people who want to get a little bit more involved real soon. Appreciate you asking, though. That's dope shit. But yeah, there is no such thing as a utopia. Like you said, Spartan, there's no such thing as a utopia, but there is something that I think we could all work towards that's better than what we've been given here in society. Well, people who want it. I'm not saying this is something that we should force on people or something, but there are people who are uncomfortable in the social situation. There's people who just that don't feel fulfilled in this shit, right? So I think there's a way to go about it that could be more of a fulfilling experience if people organize themselves a little bit differently. And the only thing I'm willing to do to prove that is lead by example. I'm not going to debate nobody about it. I'm not going to I will maybe.
I'll debate you.
Yeah. The homie Yakub will definitely debate you. But for the most part, I'm not involved in none of that. I'm willing to lead by example. I think it's a better way for me to exist. I think just visualizing it has given me a lot of, just empowered me a lot to work towards something seriously. So just by having that as something to strive for, I think I've already improved a little bit and evolved a little bit for the better just by having this idea in my head. So the closer we get to actually establish it and working it out, I can only imagine it's just going to get better from there. It's sort of what I did when I bought my property here. Like, we weren't thinking about buying into no little cookie cutter neighborhood, something we could flip and sell. We were thinking about a legacy property that we could keep in the family for generations. We could grow some food and all that kind of stuff. And that's how we chose the property. And being here and creating that energy here that's how all of this started. That's what rolled into everything that we're doing now. So putting myself in a better environment, a better location, having a different depiction of what I wanted my future to look like and what I wanted to surround myself with, that shit made a big difference for me. So like you were saying earlier, Yakub, sometimes that's the best you can give for people is doing something good for yourself so that you can lead by example and show people that there is possibly another way for them to organize their shit, and maybe they'll catch on and maybe they'll want to try it for themselves. Maybe I'll partake in a little bit of placebo enclosed cognition. I already got myself a staff. I'm definitely going to get a cool robe, maybe a headdress, And maybe some of this shit will start landing a little bit harder once we start, getting deeper into the ritual of it all. But I'm down. I'm ready.
I'll be
Yeah,
the guy in
which
the
I
shiesty
gotta
mask.
say, and I hate to be a dick, but I don't mind doing it. I'm a little overdue. I was promised an initiating ceremony
Yeah.
required. And I heard you were doing something for the solstice. I wasn't invited. I don't know what's going on here. When are we
Well,
gonna make that happen? Can we make that happen, please?
So I think what we need to do, especially because I know you have a loved one who has an aversion to fungus.
Not an aversion. Like my throat will close up and die.
Right, so that's pretty
Like,
extreme aversion, right? So,
It's a bit
pretty
more than
extreme
aversion, yeah.
aversion to fungus. So what I want to do is make sure that if everybody's going to be involved at the same time, because man, we could split it up. We could split it up to like just the main cult members. Then we could have a larger one where we invite a few more family members and stuff like
You're
that.
allergic to mushrooms?
I'm not. His loved one.
I'm
is.
not.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
But we, like I
Right.
said, we can split it up. We can figure it out, but we have to figure it because I know I'm not sure how far you guys are from each other, but I know I'm like an hour and some change from you, and so I think we need to find us either a
Listen,
central location.
No, I would make a 6-hour pilgrimage,
Yeah,
a
give him
12-hour
pilgrimage.
pilgrimage,
He
a
needs the pilgrimage.
24-hour pilgrimage if I needed to, because this is this must be put into motion. It's too good.
Yeah,
If what is required for the ordained minister shit and all the benefits that come with it is just because you were holding sermons every week.
yeah.
If it just needs to be in a thing with some additional sacraments involved, I mean, let's just make it happen and make it official.
Yeah, I'm down. This is a new year, so I mean, we can definitely. I think we need to put it on the front burner on the agenda to figure out where we can all make this happen at, and procurement won't be a problem. We just need to figure out a date and a space to occupy, and it's going down. I'm ready, bro. I think it's important. I think it's gonna be like when you hit the ship with the bottle of champagne. You know what I'm saying? We launching into the berth right there. I'm looking forward to it. I was with our libertarian friends last night, and we had an awesome conversation, some great talks, some great discoveries and downloads. And I explained the same thing to them about because I've
What's
been
the dosage?
using. Personally, my normal now is between 4 and 6.
What you going for, Yaku?
I'm a pussy. I'm
respectfully-
I'm a nibble.
I would I would respectfully prescribe 3.5, maybe 3
That's
for
no
Yaku.
fun.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
No. That's a great entry level. 3.5 is a great entry level.
Might as well go 4.
2 would be like I should have took more. 4 would be like I probably should have took less for my, So I think 3.5 is like a perfect entry level experience, and then
Yeah,
from
sure.
there, I think you should not should, but I would suggest if you feel drawn to it, moving towards the hero's dose. The hero's dose is 5 grams. Yeah, dried grams. 5 dried grams is considered the hero's dose, the
I want the
heroic
hero
dose,
dose.
and that's
I want the hero
when
dose.
trip reports and all the things that people tell you about. If you read trip reports for 2 grams, they're going to be pretty accurate. If you read them for 3.5, they're going to be pretty accurate. You look at people's timelines, what they experienced, what they went through.
I'm ready for that.
After 5 grams, don't bother
All
reading
bets are off,
anything.
right?
All bets are off. You have no clue what you're going to step into. You're knocking on the teacher's door, and the teacher will answer. But
I'm ready for it.
when you take 5 grams, I'll be the one taking 3.5. I'll be a little bit more grounded so I can help guide the situation, and I'll be
I
an
have a joint
anchor.
with me.
Yeah, I'll be the
I have
anchor.
a joint. I've done 7. I've done like 7 or 8.
See,
That's
here's
amazing.
here's really my concern. I can't really. I'm not handsome. I don't have a lot of money. The way I've been able to navigate through life is really just my brain and what little bit of brain power I have left.
This is gonna be the greatest medicine for your brain
I'm very
you've
scared.
ever had.
If is it possible just to fry it? And also another thing too, I've been hitting the gym hard lately, and I'm not a tiny dude.
It's gonna
My-
make you go even harder.
Well, my
Gonna make it go even harder.
my concern is what if I lose my shit and I have to be subdued?
No,
you're not
no.
gonna have to worry about that.
If you know what,
That's pills.
if you lose your shit,
Opioids will do that.
I'm gonna
This
tell
won't
you
do that.
like this, especially with us, with the mood that we set, because I don't take
Give me
this lightly.
positive vibes.
I don't
Give
take
me
this
positive
lightly at
energy.
all. I set the mood. I set intentions. Like I do it the way Absurdist Shaman is supposed to do it. I approach it with absolute respect. I think when you think about losing it and needing to be subdued, that's the current 3-dimensional world that you're thinking about. If you on 4 grams of shrooms and you feel like you're losing it, it's gonna be like, why am I crying and hugging everybody right now? I can't control myself.
It's
You
gonna
know?
be, listen. It's just like marijuana as far as like no addictive. It's not no damage to your body. It's actually going to connect dots in your brain that your brain has never connected before, like on a chemical level.
Yeah, the fact
So,
that
like,
you
it's
approach
not-
it with respect
Yeah.
and reverence to a degree, that sets an extremely important mood. Like if you would just, I wouldn't suggest you take 4 grams of shrooms and go to Ybor City and just walk around the street.
Yeah,
That's
then
a
you
different
Then you
situation.
have that. Then you have that mind.
Total difference. A friend of mine
Yeah.
just took a bunch of shrooms out in Vegas the other day. He called me on Facebook Messenger in tears the next morning, crying like, bro, it was so scary because he's out in Vegas, bro, fear and loathing. He's with the lights and he was with some friends.
Saw the demons.
And then after he took the shrooms, they hung out for a while, and then the friends left, so he was by himself out in Vegas. You know, you start thinking about life. Why is my heart beating so fast? Am I gonna die? What if I die in Vegas? I don't get to see my kid. Like, you know how the spiral goes. It just it won't stop.
Oh, yeah.
You can't pull yourself out of it. But
Right,
that's
and
why
I
you don't
get
put
that on
yourself.
trees.
That's why
I
you don't
don't-
put yourself in those situations.
No, bro,
Right.
you're gonna be cool. You're gonna be cool, calm, collected.
I don't know. I
Your
don't
brother's
know if
gonna
I-
be there.
Yeah,
Your
we're gonna
brothers
be
are
playing some
there.
dope music.
It's
We
gonna
gonna-
be. It's if as long
Alright.
as long as the vibrations are positive and it's.
I
it's
just
gonna
don't
be
know.
positive.
I just don't know if you remember the last time we hung out with our libertarian friend. I don't know if you remember. You had showed up and you had pulled out the sacrament. Usually I don't partake, especially in public settings.
Yeah.
And this is around the time we had first started talking about the cartoon and infinite regress or whatever.
Right.
And I don't think you really grasped how completely gone and terrified I was within about 10 minutes of sitting around there. Maybe I hit it well, but in my mind, it's just completely gone. And I don't know. And I remember smoking. Me and Doobie used to smoke on the daily. Like, what was that? Like 15 years ago?
Well, you hang out with me,
Dude.
It's
We was
every
some
day.
fucking potheads. It was
Every
all
day,
day, every day,
every
from
hour.
waking up to going to
And we
sleep.
went to work. We didn't just smoke. We went to work.
Right. We paid bills. We made money. But we was smoking like not. And so I remember being able to smoke and like none. But I remember when I just stopped doing everything for a while, as soon as I reintroduced it to myself, I was like, yo, this shit is just panic juice.
Yeah.
So that's where the apprehensive comes from, because I imagine as a mild hallucinogen that marijuana is, I got to imagine the hero's dose has to be
Have you
100
done
times
edibles?
more intense.
You've done edibles, right?
Just the gummies, nothing really hardcore. And I'll be honest with you, the gummies, I never feel too like, I
But
don't
have
know.
you ever had like a bad edible? Like you took an edible and it got you very high. Have you ever had that experience?
Nah, I never had that experience.
That's basically like you're gonna feel that.
And I've taken like the 60 milligrams.
Yeah, you
Which I heard-
you was a scary man, Yakub. Like you.
But
why you're not a god like us black.
You're right. That's
You
why
gotta
you're
step
still in the
into your
cage.
godhood.
You're not a king.
Fighting the
You're
heads of
you're just
hamsters.
out here.
Step into your godhood, bro. No, but I mean, I think you'll have a good time. And like I said, I'm pretty decent at being like you said, a trip sitter, anchor, and like kind of staying focused. I've been doing fairly often for the last few years, at least 4 to 5 times a year, and it's very deliberate. It's not much party shit going on. I'm going in there for a reason, you know. And my biggest, deepest trip was 6 grams and some change, like 6.3 or something like that, and it's manageable. But you know you have no control, if that makes any sense at all.
And it's a good ride. It's
You have no control.
Ride.
You let
6 hour
go,
ride.
but you know you have no control. But you also feel, I did anyway. I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. I was thinking about shit that was heartbreaking. I was thinking about shit that was empowering. Like there's a lot of waves you go through, but something for me anyway, I felt like everything was needed. It was shit that I needed to see. Nothing was shown to me that I was like, man, what the fuck is this? It's all like, yeah, I get it. I know what's happening. It's a learning experience, right? And that's why you start with 3, 5, and that's 3, 5 is technically a little above a party dose. 2 grams of shrooms for the average person who has any experience with psychedelics. 2 grams of shrooms is enough for you to be like, all right, I'm not going to drive, but I'm going to take a Uber and I'm going to go see Fast and Furious and I'm going to Uber back home. I'd be down with that.
It's like smoking a spliff nonstop.
Yeah, I'd be down with that on 2 grams. All day.
Grams,
I do that all day on 2 grams. 3.5, I suggest staying home. Setting the mood, picking your music, like putting up a YouTube playlist before you eat the shrooms. Make sure your light setting is right. Clean up. I don't have to clean, cook. I don't have to put no food away. Like think about all of these things that could pop up. Turn your ringer off and just set your mood. Take deep breaths, respect the medicine, take your 3.5 grams and let it take you where it takes you.
Yeah, that's
right?
7, the hero dose. You'll start seeing shit like,
yeah.
When I did it, I didn't see like animals and shit, but when I looked up the ceiling, I saw shapes. Like there was like, shapes were coming around, like different shapes, triangles, squares, all that stuff. But like after that, I got lost in my mind. It was downhill after that.
On a hero's dose on 5 grams, I would say get an Airbnb. Don't even be home. Go somewhere or a friend, like somewhere where you could have access to some outdoors. If it was like a RV type place where you could go and camp or something, I would say go to where you could be outdoors and indoors without too much transition. So you want to be able to go outside in the woods or near a beach or whatever, soak up some air, and then go back in if shit starts feeling too big for you. But that's what I would consider even being away from home on the 5 grams. The biggest thing, again, Fun Smart in the comments said, respect the medicine. That's every other step. Step 1, 3, 5, and 7 is respect the medicine, bro. Because for me anyway, I know a lot of people who trip and go to Wu-Tang concerts and they fucking hang like. That's not me. That's not how I approach this at all. It took me 5 or 6 psychedelic sessions before I was out in the open doing some funny shit. But the first few was all in closed settings. Everything was prepared. It was just treated the right way. And I knew you respect it going in. This is not something you want to play with because it will sit you down, especially mushrooms. Mushrooms will sit you down and make you confront shit that you didn't know you needed to confront because you get into it's psychological. It starts with the body. Your body starts buzzing and feeling really weird, but it's like that body feeling leads you deeper into your own head and you start thinking about shit. Shit starts replaying itself. It's intense, bro. It's intense.
I started driving. I stopped instantly. I'm like, I'll never do that again.
Bro, I would never, bro.
It's like this is a death machine.
It is, absolutely. No, shit's real.
All these people around me are gonna die.
So
it gets dark too, but your mind has to be like focused. You have to be in a positive state, like everything. Everything. But yeah, respect the medicine. You gotta respect the medicine.
So I mean, we can set something up. We should definitely talk about it as soon as possible, and try to get like a pinpoint a day and a space, and everything. And I think it's important, man. It's clearly time. I know Doobie been ready, so I know you were the most skeptical of all of us. So if you ready, it's definitely time.
I'll hold your hands, Yaku. Come on. Bro.
That's gonna happen anyway. That's gonna be part of the ritual. That's gonna happen anyway.
Inside the rocket ship. Yeah, you got a perfect astronaut with you. I've been in and out. We're good.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, it's going down. It's gonna be awesome. And then it will be completely ordained. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure we are now anyway. Because like you said, I could totally choose a few rants that I've had about cults and intentional community on this show, and that could be. I could just clip that up and say here are some of my sermons. But to actually prepare and perform one and get footage of it, or record it at least, get the audio so I can submit it. Yeah, and then I'll get my paperwork. I'll get my little card, to carry the card that says you're an ordained minister and an Absurdist shaman. And yeah, bro, let it rock. I think we perfectly set up to build this structure. We got the trust is on the way, so all your donations will be tax deductible. Yeah, we gonna do it right. We gonna do it the smart way. And if anything that we're not doing right, feel free to start your own cult and show us how to do it properly. That's how that works.
Oh yeah, Constant MC Constant in the chat. Yeah. He was also a heavy. That dude, I think might smoke had at least back in the day. He smoked more weed than any other human being I've ever met. I don't think anybody like, and I was bad. Like people would say, like, "Damn, dude, you smoke a lot of weed."
You talking about me?
No, MC Constant in the chat.
Oh.
Yeah, he was another one that was just a daily smoker. Anytime he was around, always smoking weed. And I think because he was saying in the chat all the times that we got together and smoked. Yeah, definitely. I have a pothead history. Like women have a whole history. I got a pot history. I am familiar. It's just, as I've gotten older, I do kind of, I feel a sense of responsibility to like not just casually use it. I almost feel like, I prescribe it for myself, like with the care a doctor is supposed to have, but these motherfuckers don't. Like, look, the commercial told me to give you this. Here, take a sample. But like the care that they're supposed to take, and like, hey, this can have bad effects. Here's the good that you could get out of it. You should be purposeful and use it responsibly. I do feel like I have that now, and I didn't have it before. But I do feel like I have a respect for the medicine, for sure.
It's important. It's definitely important. So yeah, man, I think we should, for real, take it seriously, prioritize it, and get this thing manifested as early as we can this year, man. At least first quarter for sure. Sometime within first quarter, that might be the move. But yeah, we can do it. I think we can do it. I think we can get it done. I got a pretty firm link right now, so we just need to do a little bit of planning and get to it. We'll have some good downloads.
I look forward to it. Should we wrap up and close out on the times we became racist?
Oh no, I did mine. I told my story about the Middle Eastern man after I watched all the beheading videos.
That was understandable.
That was when I felt right. I corrected myself pretty quickly. I kind of, wiped it away. I shook it off. It's not something that I carried around. But in the moment, when I first laid eyes on him, I called him a lot of crazy names. I felt like a heat building up in me, like this motherfucker. And I can't be sure that he ever did anything like that. But in that moment, I did not like that guy at all. Because he was Middle Eastern. Period. Well, that was all there was.
But you had subjected yourself to the trauma of seeing a human head severed.
Right.
Which is just one of those things. There's certain things that humans are never supposed to witness.
Right. Seriously. And
2000 era was weird. 2000 era was weird. I remember I was on my reading tip and fresh into the YouTube world. I found a couple of Malcolm X stuff, and in between a couple of those videos, there was some, Tusken Raider stuff that I didn't. Malcolm X would have been proud of.
I love how we can just call them Tusken Raiders. That's not even like a slur or nothing. That's just like, the Tusken Raiders, bro. That's who they are. All of them over there. I'm not differentiating, even though they fighting each other. It's like watching a bunch of two different teams of Tusken Raiders fight each other. You're not gonna know who's who unless it's green and red versus blue. Other than that, it all looks the same to me. They're blowing each other up over some shit that I have no idea about. It's ridiculous. Well, I kind of have an idea, and I think it's stupid. So. I know a little bit of it. And a little bit I think it's stupid. So that leaves open the possibility that I just don't know about the important parts. I'm not saying that there are no important parts. I just don't know them. All the information I have about that conflict is stupid. And that goes to say for most of them. Most of them are pretty thinly veiled.
That's basically thug gossip. It's like, you want to know what's going on in the black world? We could tell you, but
this is what's going on in the black world. These two white guys can tell us about it. Milk can tell us what's going on in the black world.
1090 Jake.
I love this dude. Like this, I'm gonna close on this because I want to say that I hope they keep this forever. I was saying this earlier. I hope the baton of ignorant thuggery and criminality and the rap music and all that shit. I hope that baton is forever passed to these people right here. This guy, he can have it. because it's not doing us any good. So if he wants it so bad, he wants to break in and get the cornrows and talk crazy, I think we should let him have it. I think you should treat it like everything else black folks do. They say, oh, white people are doing this dance now. It's not cool no more. Well, white people are wearing gang colors and killing each other over stupid shit. Is that not cool anymore now?
Dude, when appropriation is applied as judo, blackness will be revitalized.
Right. Appropriation.
Don't hold on
judo.
to just go with their energy. Let them appropriate. Don't
let them have it.
Resist the instinct to put the force in the other direction. Just lean in.
Don't try to take it back. All this right here, all this.
As a church mouse, bro.
Hold on, no, we got here from the beginning. And I just want to say too, as a person, because as all of this woke shit crept up, I had to start getting introduced to all kinds of different people who, in my previous mentality, I probably would have seen as just unreasonable racist. People that I just wouldn't have dealt with, that I had some prejudices in my mind, you know, like in listening to Atheism is Unstoppable, or, you know, Josh LaCash or Gavin McGinnis. Like, these are dudes that, you know, one, they would have absolutely hated my wiggerdom. They just hated it. But because all of this crazy shit has been put out there and everything has been along these racial and tribal lines, it's kind of forced all reasonable people to kind of just start liking each other and put that other shit away. But as a person who has gone through the probably appropriate ostracization that takes place when you're a Wogan, I look back at my life and I think, I'm like, how was that even a thing? How is that even a thing? If this dude exists, I don't even understand how I get lumped in the same. How am I in the same bucket?
Right.
This doesn't even make sense.
Right.
But it's amazing. Everyone, you're in for a treat. This gentleman is. You won't find anyone like him. It's extraordinary. Sorry.
And by the way, for all the listeners who don't know yet, to update you on the compendium, Rogan is the new N-word. We don't say the N-word anymore. We don't use it. Anytime we want to use the N-word, they're called Rogans from now on. It's a Rogan. He's acting like a Rogan. He's being a Rogan. That Rogan cut me off in traffic. It's much more acceptable, and we know what you mean. But we'll explain. It should be self-explanatory. But one day we'll get into.
Just say it backwards. Actually, then you get it.
Actually, why we call it. But this guy, yeah, he's special.
Gang, y'all already know the script. Let's go ahead and take them 7.4 seconds and get our minds right before we get into this. Come on.
And he does that, by the way. That's his intro. All the time.
Take this time to make sure that you smash the like and the subscribe button for me, Lo.
Yeah, let's do that.
Now let's get into this video. Come on. 1090J, where you been at, Lo? You been real quiet. You've been real quiet as a church mouse, bro.
Is it me? Is it me? Is it me? Am I a jerk, or is this is terrible? Wow, I don't know,
it's
man.
It's cringy. I don't know who this. How many views does it have? How many subscribers?
Oh, he's balling. He's got 104,000 subscribers. 104,000, 8,000 views 6 hours ago. He's balling.
You see what honest, nuanced dialogue is getting for us?
Right.
You see, we're doing it wrong.
Right. But 100,000 subscribers, like, yo, bruh, you're quiet as a church mouse, Loke.
I don't believe him
at all.
I don't believe
all.
And this is a certified street dude. Certified.
Milk.
Certified how? He spent the night in jail?
Even though this looks fake, sound fake, he seems fake.
He's certified.
He's certified.
Okay, certified how?
He's from a hood, and he got
an armed robbery. What is his charges? Like, what did he go to jail for?
All I know is he's certified. That some black man said he's okay. That's all I know.
Did the gangs lower their standards?
They let 6ix9ine in, so
okay, maybe it's some kind of extortion game going on.
Okay, can we just say one? Is anyone's kitchen that nice? I've never lived in a house with a kitchen that nice.
You don't live in the hood, you know that.
No thugs kitchen is that nice.
All right, I'm done.
accounted statement,
You don't
and
live
it
with
was
black
sworn
people
from
after.
Tampa Police Department.
So what he's doing in this video, just so everybody knows, is he's exposing another white guy who is in the same what we call thug gossip. It's just crime
1090
gossip.
Jake.
Yes, his name is 1090 Jake. He tells stories about being in prison and getting out of prison and doing crimes. It's thug gossip. I don't know why it's a thing, but it's a thing and it's very popular. And these guys celebrate criminality. So what I did was I went to his page. I'm like, what is going on with Milk TV? And there's nothing else I need to say other than the word thug gossip. Just look at what Whack 100 presses sharp. So he's talking about two other men arguing, and that's his video. These two guys are going at it with each other. He doesn't like 1090 Jake. Oh, a gangbanger punches a pedophile. Is that not snitching? Why'd you identify this guy as a gangbanger, though? A gangbanger punches a pedophile. Academics goes in on Sharp. These two men are talking about each other. And those are his videos. And then I saw this one. Where was it? Where is it at? Hold on. Where is it at? This one was special. Did I pass it already? But he is some person who claims that there's a rapper named Little House Phone.
Oh yeah. That's thug gossip. You're getting deep right now.
Yeah, it's deep thug gossip.
Little House Phone works for No Jumper, and No Jumper interviewed a transgender person, and they said they basically tittled him, and then
they diddled him or got diddled by him.
I don't know. He said
we gotta be clear. It's different.
He said there was no diddling going on, but he said he did experiment because he was on. He said he experimented with drugs. So that tends to go back and forth.
Oh, he said he
was
when it happened?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the one right there. Go up. You missed it. It's up right there. I think that's the one you're talking about. The pink do-rag right above the Whack 100. I can't see the title.
Oh, there it is.
Is that it?
Milk reacts to Adam 22 interview with trans woman that exposed Little House Phone. So I was like, is this real? There's a guy named Little House Phone? So I found him. He's a rapper. This is Little House Phone, bro.
And yeah, he did do some rapping.
Beef with a nigga, I'm getting this block spit. My nigga sinners, I'm telling them repent. I knew your bitch wanna fuck from the begin. Jumped off the porch and I jumped in the deep end.
That's Little House Shoes. I mean Little House Phone. My bad.
Yeah.
I think he did it.
He said he did. He said, listen, he said he didn't suck no dick. He didn't do nothing. He said there was some diddling going on. I don't know. Wait. I don't understand.
Oh,
I don't understand how there was no dick sucking, no touching, no nothing, but something happened.
He's lying.
So I don't know. You did something.
He's lying.
I'm not gonna judge you, bro. I'm not gonna judge you.
No. Hip hop has no grounds to disallow homosexuality.
You know what I mean?
You have no grounds. Y'all been talking about
it's founded on homosexuality.
We're talking about rape and murder. You love prison culture. You hate women. I mean, that's clear. You know what I'm saying? So you have no grounds to try to outlaw homosexuality as far as the rules of hip hop go.
So,
There's a lot of other concepts and ideas you're going to need to address before we just allow you to unfairly target homosexuality. You got bigger problems.
Adam 22 being the white man conqueror supremacist, I guess everybody's supposed to make him out to be now. He was supposed to not interview that person because that's supposed to be his best friend.
Man, listen, man, we opening doors, bro. You still my homie, even if you did, do some rolling around with this particular person. That's your business, bro. That's your business. Just keep rapping, you know what I mean. But if you flipping birds and doing crimes, then that's completely acceptable. But what you can't do is bang people. Okay. Yeah. Don't make a whole lot of sense to me, but
far,
thug gossip is
Jumper looks like it might be falling apart, but that's other thug gossip.
As it should. It should. It's
thug gossip
terrible.
Is lucrative, bro. It's lucrative.
It is. There's definitely a vacuum has been created. I just think we should shamelessly put ourselves in that space. If it means 100,000, we can do the cult building as well. It would just be a more esoteric, kind of clandestine type of, operation. But if there's money for the compound to be found, it just seems like this is the lane. People just love this ignorant shit. At some point, you just got to tell them what they want and run off with their money to go build something better. I don't know. Is this too much stolen legacy juice for me? Is this Am I
No.
just telling on myself
No.
that I think like this? Because I don't know what to do. If you having a reasonable, measured, productive, like, yo, these are the things that matter. We really care. No, nobody can. Where is the attention? All of the shit that is absolutely geared towards destruction, destructive, ignorant shit. That is what people get their dicks hard for. That is what gets the eyes and gets the attention. It's unfortunate that this is the way humans are calibrated, but at some point you just can't deny the layout of things.
Yeah,
I don't know. And why does 1090 Jake have a face tattoo?
He's a famous Floridian blood from the Florida prisons. That's more thug gossip, bro.
That's where he's from. Like, that's where he was born. He was born in the Florida prison.
He's from the north. He's from north. He made his way to Tampa, and he has history in Tampa. But he ended up being in jail in the Florida prison system, and he made his way back up north. But like,
this is another one I just don't believe.
He's certified. He's certified. I didn't certify him, but he's certified.
Certified by who?
It's gonna sound
black people.
What is the sanctioning body? What is the council?
I just own blackness. I don't own ignorance. I don't own gang members. I just own.
That's true. That's true. This is not really. It's not really Doobie's wheelhouse.
I don't write the street rules. I don't write the street rules. I'm a civilian. I will call the police. Depends.
Oh,
I don't
tattletale.
Police, bro. I don't tattletale.
I do. I will. I will 100%. You get into some shady business around my neighborhood or something like that. I won't even have to call, because my neighbor, this old lady across the street, she'll definitely call. You know what I'm saying? And I encourage her when she tells me too. She's like, yeah, these cars been going through here a lot to that one house. I was like,
I'm that guy.
Like, yeah, get them.
Like, go ahead.
Get them,
Jennifer. Follow.
Get these motherfuckers out of here. They're making too much noise.
Is the prison YouTuber scene talked about?
That's another one too. That's another.
Been back, but
no.
I wonder to what
This
extent.
is Pino.
Really? Okay. But it has gotten a lot bigger, so maybe it is a thing now.
Up bitching him up. I called him out to a fight.
Yeah, here we go. Here goes some thug
gossip.
gossip.
That fuck boy no clout. Honestly, I ain't even gonna say his name on this channel.
Okay.
But we linked up with another YouTuber.
You don't talk like that.
I ain't even gonna talk about it. I ended up bitching him up. I called him out to a fight in this city, and he didn't come.
Okay.
So
I think he's from Lakeland, right?
I have no clue.
Me and 1090 Jake ended up getting into it because
remember this.
How many
that
baby
you pulled
mamas
up
you
on?
think he got?
it was on
17.
Oh, okay. Why the fuck are you in Massachusetts?
So I was.
This is terrible.
No, they don't go that far in the thuggery. Normally, these guys just have like one baby mama.
I'm trying to.
They don't go that far.
Dude, where is the white polite? Where is the white killer priest?
Right. Yeah.
And
where is the white
He interviewed
Sadat
your boy
X?
too. He interviewed your boy who said his mother was the devil. There's a recent interview.
Yeah, I saw that.
He interviewed.
Yeah, they don't exist. There's no consciousness.
Where are
There's
the
no street
Wogans that read books?
There's no poor righteous teachers
So,
in
man,
the white
if
side
you
of
love-
this thing.
That's not where the education and they need the
But
excitement.
that's what I'm saying. If you love black shit, there's other black shit to love.
That shit corny
No.
though.
You
It's corny.
love the
No.
worst fucking
No,
destructive
black on
shit.
black violence they've been dreaming of it. They wanted to be a part of it. They want to be.
Look, and I'm
down.
sorry. I don't believe either one of them dudes are tough. Am I fucked up? I just don't believe it.
Bro, this is not. It's not blackness they love. It's the black representation of whiteness that they love.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
The things that would make you approach an elderly couple at a
Right.
dinery and threaten them for no reason.
Right,
Gotcha.
that's cave beast behavior. So this is actually his stuff that he reappropriated from black
in a
people.
different
Right.
with a different. It's like I'm playing the Avengers right now. I love it. You unlock different skins.
Yep.
It's just a different update. This is white supremacy, colonization, and indiscriminate cave beast violence.
Yeah.
But
With
with
extra
a hint,
steps.
Yeah.
Extra steps. With extra
with
steps.
neck tattoos.
You know what? Okay, so let's look at the jewelry, right? Let's look at the jewelry. We already know for a fact that Africans were in Africa for a million years, right? Whatever it was.
Kings and queens.
No, they were in Africa for a
trillion.
million years, right?
Kings and queens.
And they were still wearing cowrie shells, right? The Egyptians got into a lot of gold and other shit like that, but they weren't ripping everything out of the ground. They were chilling. They were wearing just as many bird feathers as they were gold bracelets. It was the Europeans that started ripping everything out of the ground. This is the gaudiness, the extra, the fucking opulence. That's not African. Everybody knows that, right? They were chilling. They was just chilling. The opulence is the people who was like, you know what? I'm tired of these caves.
It's Louis the 14th.
It's Louis the 14th. I need a mansion now. I need a mansion with 152 bedrooms. That's not African.
I need waterfalls. I need chairs with gold on them.
Yep, it's not African. The mud hut is African. You know, the thatched roof, the bohemian.
Hunter-gatherers.
Listen to some reggae in the background, pick a mango off the tree.
Oh, dude.
That's African.
Hippies were the ones that really wanted to be black. Hippies are the original Wogans.
Right.
And they never got credit for it.
Right. The hippies are the ones that took that. They took that. They were like, yes, this is what we want to be. This dude was like, you know what? I'm more attracted to the criminality and the violence. It's like, actually, that was yours in the first place. So you're just taking it back. You're reappropriating it. And I'm happy that they are. Let them have it. Give it to them. Give it to him. 1090 Jake, bro, talking about fighting Pino. Pino said he didn't show up for the fight, so there's a discrepancy.
I have a gun. I'm a convicted felon. For bringing
No,
a
they
knife to a
showed up,
fight.
but he brought his friends. More thug
The
gossip.
knife fall out. Now he got the chance to grab it. I can't bring anything with me. You know what I'm saying? Same time, if he come to Boston and get his shit popped, who the fuck they gonna think did it? Me. Because you already posting your whole fucking trip before I was even on.
This shit is absurd, bro. It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's absurd, but I'm happy they have it. I'm glad they got the rock, bro.
Yeah.
Pass them the rock. Let
They
them,
got
you know what I
it.
mean?
They got it. They got it. It's yours. It's yours. Have it.
Pass Woody Harrelson the rock. He's gonna dunk.
There you go.
You know what I mean? White man can jump, buddy. And then and then everybody just back off the court slowly. He'll just keep balling and shooting Jays and getting the rebound, and then they'll look up one day and it'll be only white guys on the court. All the black people just leave, bro. This is the time to back away from criminality and gang.
But you know
what's
hilarious though about like I don't know how to say it, but like so you have Adam 22 all tatted up, face, neck, everything, head, right? Looks like biker gang, right? Hard metalcore, all that. And then this dude puts on a chain, has his shirt unbuttoned, puts his hat on backwards.
Right.
It's just it's black. He's black now.
That's what that dude did in the video when he was like, call me a Rogan right now. I dare you. He turned his hat around backwards.
Oh my God! I didn't even see that. You're right.
Yep.
Holy shit!
He turned his hat around backwards. He activated his blackness.
And look, and why are these white people okay? Because you're getting around black people, right? You're going and you're immersing yourself into the ocean of blackness, and you're going deep into the waters. But you go there and you say, okay, so what are we up to, guys? Well, we're getting into some destruction of the community by selling drugs. None of us are opening businesses. We're only creating illegal businesses that are going to be destructive. Nothing productive. If we deal with anyone else, it's going to be violence, typically over something innocuous, like a wrong look or an accidental push or something stupid. But basically, people are going to die over dumb shit. And then the white guy goes, fuck it, I'm in. Let's roll with that. How come 1090 Jake, what's the other dude with the 100,000 subscribers and the white cornrows? Milk. His name is Milk. I love it. Milk is chilling. This is lovely. So Milk, he goes and does the same thing, but nobody's like, my dad was a stockbroker. Have you guys ever considered maybe cleaning this money and maybe investing it in some mutual funds? Like, how come the white guy's not going to these black dudes who, again, the narrative is they would love to do something else. They would love to be engineers. They would love to be on Wall Street. They would love if someone just gave them a chance. But unfortunately, there's no other options. So they got to do ignorant, violent shit that's now associated with blackness because there's no options. These white dudes come from their white land with their white skill set and their white upbringing and their parents' white generational wealth, right? Yeah. They get over to these black groups and they share none of the white knowledge to help make them rich. They just say, this poisonous shit, I want in on that. These dudes could fundamentally think about the 1090 Jake that gets the whole hood to invest their money,
right,
in a wise way. Think of the white dude that goes to the hood and gets everybody to see the value of not fucking up the money with violence, but make the community a place where people aren't scared to invest because there's stability there. Where is that white dude? How come he just walks away with a fucking ridiculous accent and a neck tattoo? I don't believe any of them. I just don't.
No, that's a valid inquiry, actually. That makes them kind of seem like agents or something like that. I don't want to say agents, but it's something weird about that. None of them have taken the other route. None of them. The ones who are smart, intelligent, and well-spoken, those are the ones who are like, if they are into hip-hop shit, they're rappers. They're like Trump rappers.
Right.
They're right-wing, complete. Yeah.
They go so far left, they end up going to jail. So they fucked up too much.
Well, that's
like,
not bad. Hey.
No, but I mean, like they can't go the other route anymore at that point. It's too far deep.
No, they can always come back because they're white. They can always come back. They get their tattoos removed, grow his hair out a little bit, put a suit on, and nobody's gonna, like I said, it's enclosed cognition. They'll be like, he'll do better if he decided to make a U-turn right now. He would do better than a lot of black dudes who just didn't commit any crimes, especially at face value. Just at face value. Yeah, 2 dudes, they both from the hood. And they're like, yeah, I'm trying to, do something different with my life. They were like, yeah, come on and be a dental assistant. Nobody's gonna stop him. Nobody's gonna stop him. But I would rather see them live out.
Ride it till the wheels fall.
Push it till it breaks. Go to jail, bro. Go to jail. I want to see the fullness of this experience play out. I want to see it. But yeah, those guys are super fascinating, and Thug Gossip is an extremely lucrative section of YouTube, and I hope the listeners and subscribers, and I hope y'all don't mind us plumbing the depths of some of this Thug Gossip. We're going to have to, man. We're going to have to. We need 100,000 subscribers and 8,000 views in 6 hours. We need it. We got to have it. We got to build this cult. We got to purchase this compound. We got to bring the compendium to life. We got books to write. We got content to create about hemp gardens and permaculture farms. We got a lot of shit to do. So we're going to need those subs and those views. So if Thug Gossip is what's going to help us plumb and harvest some of the resources from this algorithm, then so be it. So be it.
If anything, it'll make you giggle.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll always drill down to a good crystallized point by the end of it. We usually do. It's never a useless trip down to the bottom of these things. It's amazing. So,
you know what? Next episode, let it be a Thug Gossip extravaganza. Let's dedicate the whole ep to Thug Gossip and just see what we do.
Absolutely. This is the way.
Let's lean in.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm down. We got Charleston White. I know he's got $1 billion. We got a lot of stuff we could get into. So we'll throughout this week we'll collect a few episodes, we'll collect a few clips, and we'll just address it. I mean, we definitely got to get Hassan on the show. We got to get him. We got to get a few more Hassan clips. We got the one with him. Where he made somebody fall in love with him with a death threat.
And then he threw himself into a police car and he kept me free.
Right, just so we could have the possibility of meeting later. Love at first sight. Love at first death threat, bro, for real. Yeah, man. I definitely appreciate y'all for making time. I'm gonna find me. Oh, it's Super Bowl night, ain't it? There's a whole bunch of shit going on. We're gonna see if we can find some clips from the game or something, so the boys can check it out.
Pizza and some free wings.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, man, I'm gonna be here. So if y'all want to link up sometime this week or whenever, just holler at me. Send me. Let's get these clips, this Thug Gossip clip loaded for next episode. And we're going to drag everybody in with us. If we got to deal with it, y'all got to deal with it too. At least a little bit.
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
It was Martin Luther King's dream. That's what he wanted.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, man. So y'all take it easy and enjoy the rest of the evening. And I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Peace.
Dola, may it be so.
I'll check y'all out soon, man. Bless.
Peace, gentlemen.
Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.